The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, over 25 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful gentleman who was born in New York City, now in Napa Valley, California, which makes me want some wine and grapes in the meantime. He's with a group called the Backroad Warriors. I almost gave away a little surprise there. And so he actually was influenced by Paul Simon, Van Morrison, and he writes for Worthy Causes and a lot more. And he grew up in the late 60s, early 70s, and he also got into writing, which is not too long ago. So he's answered the calling and was able to work with some great musicians, a great guy to check out. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful Napa Valley, ladies and gentlemen, part of the Backroad Warriors, the very talented Fred Lessman. Fred, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board. So you actually were born in New York City. You're influenced by Paul Simon, Van Morrison, and a lot of the 60s and 70s music. And you also write for Worthy Causes. And you've got a couple of songs called Giving On Back, Children of Our Children, and a lot more as well, too. And you're part of the Backroad Warriors, and you just have a really good story to tell. And before we get into all that, tell us how you first got started.
How I first got started?
Correct.
In music, or generally speaking?
It can be, being born out in New York, what you did before you got into songwriting. So wherever you want to go, just take your pick. Although it's the Mike Wagner Show, you're in the spotlight, bud. This is on you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes, I am born and raised in New York City. So I was obviously, as a young man, given the opportunity to go to the Fillmore East and many music venues, right from bluegrass, rock, and jazz. I got to see Van Morrison as well as Paul Simon in my younger days, and always had a love and appreciation for music. I went to City College in New York, where I was actually drove a New York City taxi cab to get myself through school. And found myself then during school breaks heading out to California, and found it very attractive, and proceeded to go out there. Moved actually to Venice Beach in Los Angeles. Proceeded in a life of business. I had to put music. I played guitar and harmonica from a young age, and put it onto the side like so many people I know. Collected a little dust. Picked it up here and there, changed strings maybe once a year. Found myself in a very lucrative business career, starting in Northern California and then to Las Vegas, and retired some 11 years ago. Moved to Napa Valley, and I started to pick up my instruments again. And believe it or not, I had never really written any complete songs, just little snippets, partials. But again, always a lover of music and melody, especially a pretty melody. So Tom Petty being one of my fans, probably my favorite being the Eagles, and I'm sure the Beatles and other bands that made just pretty songs, nice melodies. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
No. Go ahead. You're on a roll here, so please continue. You're on a really good roll. I'm loving this.
So about 6.5, 7 years ago, I have found my way to the golf course. And a gentleman was in my cart as a single. He joined us. His name is Andrew Emmer, a very proficient bass player. Played with Wynton Marsalis. Played with some of the Grateful Dead members. As he let me know, I was sitting in our cart. At that point, I had just began writing a few songs. Actually, probably completed a couple of them, put them on my iPad. And I said to him, would you do me a favor? This was months later. I said, I have written about 4 songs, and I like to get them from the iPad onto a CD. Can you help me do that? And I want to give them to my children. And at that time, I didn't have grandchildren. And he said, sure, I'd be glad to help you. We ended up going to a studio. I'll give him a plug, which is in Cotati, called Prairie Sun, a famous studio here up in the valley where Tom Waits records. Mm-hmm. And I found myself in a studio with about 4 or 5 songs written, and Drew brought in these host of wonderful musicians. And my first experience in a studio, and you know what? He said, you know what? Your songs are really good. I said, yeah, okay, thank you very much. However, I just want to do this thing. Well, while we were recording, some reason, like a growth spurt, I ended up writing another 5 songs. 4 we recorded, and then we were about to do the last one, and he got called away to go on the road.
Oh, my goodness.
So a gentleman that I knew some 35 years ago named Brett Levick, who, let's just say in another era, I was sort of like a mentor for him when he was 20 and I was 30. He has always been a professional musician. Thanks to Facebook, we had gotten back in touch, and I discovered that he was a producer. And I said, no, that's funny. By the way, I have one more song. Would you mind listening to it? And he listened to it. He came and produced it. And we just kicked off 20 songs since then. It's been about 6 years.
Wow. 20 songs in 6 years. That's amazing. That's enough to do a double CD. That's amazing.
So we became collaborators. And, well, the second song we did together was a song called No Road to Travel, which ended up on radio. Mm-hmm. And I was like shocked. I mean, you can only imagine. At that point, I'm just past 60 years old. I'm driving in my car, and I turn it on, and there's me. Just myself.
Well, I have to say this. You're never too old to start anything. I mean, that's what I've learned. And I'll probably tell you about that off the air. And I have to say this is like, I have to say you hit a really good time to start doing music. Your music sounds fantastic.
Thank you. And, from there on, we had about 5 other songs that made it onto radio. We've, I don't know, it's just been great. I do like 1 or 2 concerts a year. Like you said, I have a couple of charities. One is, Children's Cancer Society out of Vegas that I send most of my proceeds to. And it's just been a great experience. Brett lives up in Ashland, Oregon, which I'll give them a plug. Unfortunately, our bass player and our drummer both lost their homes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Matthew Kremmelman and Nick Kirby lost their homes. But they're okay. They're safe, and they're getting through this. And the other guy who just happens to play with us, who's been on all my on my 2 CDs and on all my songs, is named Jeff Pevar, which you and I spoke about, who Jeff tours with David Crosby. I used to send me little videos of him when he was 16 to 18 playing with Ray Charles.
Oh, wow.
So that was very interesting. So when I'm on stage with these guys, you can only imagine, these have all, Matt Kremmerman played with the Blue Man Group from Vegas. The piano player, organ player, Don Harris, was used to open up a Quicksilver Messenger service in San Francisco. Jeff, the drummer, and Brett Levick, my collaborator, and I'm like, wow! I just take pause to look around and go, it's like, it's surrealistic. I mean, for a 60-some-odd-year-old man to be playing in a rock and roll band and enjoying every second of it.
It sounds like you're having fun. And if you were to pick one more famous musician to join you, who would that be and why?
Unfortunately or unfortunate. Can I name 2? One would be Sting and the other would be Don Henley.
Oh, Don Henley. Good choice.
Yeah, well, so is Sting. I mean, I think.
Oh my gosh! I think we're about to start a debate or war here among listeners here. So we'll probably get some love mail, hate mail over this, but keep on going.
I think they both know how to write songs from the heart, beautiful melodies, both geniuses in their own right. And I'm sure my list could go on and on and on and on. But the first 2 that come to mind are those 2. I like to believe that, again, whatever it is that comes out of me, which is, I'm not a particularly religious man, probably far more on a spiritual side. It's divinely inspired. I don't know where, I really don't. And I play a chord and that suddenly something comes from it, It's, I've watched those guys, perform, and I believe they have that magic. They've always had it. And I have tremendous respect and admiration for both of those guys.
And who are some of your other major influences as well, too, like with artists, musicians, singers, and guitarists? Who are some of your other influences?
Well, I did play classical music when I was a child. So Itzhak Perlman, the most proficient violinist I've ever seen, also make beautiful music, that just hits your heart, hits your soul. To the converse, I mean, how do you not love somebody like Eric Clapton? I just watched a video of Mahavishnu John McLaughlin playing some of the most prettiest acoustic guitar. To even as, maybe as to like the Backstreet Boys. I love their songs. I love their harmonies. I like to believe myself as being somewhat musically diverse. But I think consistent or constant is always, it's got to be sort of a melody. Even even I'm trying to remember the name now. The name evades me. I don't know why. But the famous saxophone player, the jazz saxophone player. God, why is that blanking? But he did a version of My Favorite Things. Another beautiful song. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of avant-garde jazz. I mean, I got to watch Miles Davis play as a kid. George Benson, another phenomenal musician. I have been very musically blessed with the talent that I have witnessed. Yes, and yes, The Who. I never did see the Beatles, but I've seen the Rolling Stones a few times. And these people all have overwhelmed me.
It sounds like you got a really great influence as well, too, and we'll talk about your songs like Give It On Back, Say So, and also Children Are Children and more. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, on over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the very talented Fred Lessman, living in Napa Valley, California, here on the Mike Wagner Show, born in New York City and influenced by a number of great artists, as we have mentioned. And he's also got a couple CDs out called 3 a.m. and Give It On Back. We'll talk about some of those along with a few cuts we're featuring. But first of all, you talked about you were in business for about 40 years before retiring. What did you do?
I was in the land development and home building business.
Oh, okay.
Nothing too thrilling. Very laborious, believe me.
And of course, you mainly just build homes for people and whatever else. Yes. And, that's one of the things I'm thinking about. Sometimes I wish I had that skill, but I just couldn't hit straight, cut straight, or whatever it is. You gave it a try. But, I got to say this, people like that, build houses. I actually admire them. And, right now I'm sure there'll probably be like, more of a demand than ever trying to say accommodate to what's going on and maybe even community housing and such. And also, what was that one precise moment that influenced you to get into music again? So what was that one precise moment for you while you're in business?
Actually, I had retired. And unfortunately, well, here's the good part. My wife and I are together. We've been together now 20 years. We had a little pause. I had a little time out for some not great behavior. And that had me living separately for a period of time. And I picked up the guitar. And I started to put some chords together. And came the beginning of the 20-some-odd songs later. Isn't it always, though? It's always something about the heart, or some kind of tragedy or something that happens. And that's what happened.
It sounds like a lot of the songs pretty much came from the heart. Let's talk about a couple of your CDs. You got your first one called 3 a.m. and your second one is Give It On Back. Let's talk about your first one, 3 a.m. and tell us more about that CD and how'd you come up with that name and some of the songs you featured.
Well, one song, that obviously the title song is 3 a.m. And again, it has to do with, about 3 a.m. where the decision to part company, so to speak, came, that conversation. So that's where the 3 a.m. Obviously, also in a previous life, in my younger teens and 20s, that would have been more of the party hour, but that's not what the song was about. other couple of songs on there was No Road to Travel, which we talked about, and Superman, Ish, which my Brett put the Ish on it because that again had to do with my wife when she found something out that she wasn't happy about, let me know that I no longer was her Superman, and that became then the impetus of that song. There's a few other songs in there called Blue Night, also referencing that same period of time. And so that's pretty much, that CD was more or less dedicated to that time. I had a very dear friend of mine who passed away, Al Flangus, of cancer during that time. And I was visiting with him while he was dying, and his wife at the time, Trudy, was caring for him. They did hospice in their home, and she kept looking at him. And I wrote a song called "You Can't Be Dead 'Cause I'm Standing," and that was about that moment. I don't remember, too many. It was only, 10. Not only, I mean, there were 10 songs, but those were the ones that, including Superman, No Road, were put on the radio, and that was it. That took years. Those were probably two to 3 years of my music was on that CD.
Wow, that is amazing. When I hear 3 a.m., makes me think of that Simon and Garfunkel. I think their debut at 3 a.m. and kind of like think somewhere along the lines. And I thought, Paul Simon, it just kind of comes together. It seems like to me.
Thank you. Yes, I agree.
and they turn out to be influential, move on to bigger and better things. And speaking of bigger and better things, you also have the the follow-up CD called Give It On Back. You have the title track and more. And tell us all about that CD along with the title track and a couple others from that CD. Sure.
No, that one had a little mixture. That one I got a little more political, for the sake of another word. Give It On Back was predominantly about the 2008 and 9 financial meltdown, and then how my perception of how Wall Street basically raped us, and how nice it would be if they had just to give it on back.
Right.
How much better maybe they might feel, and how certainly we feel if they would ever to do that. And maybe it's just time for them to do that.
Right.
Yes. And then another song we wrote on there, is this Time to Fight, or is it Time to Run Away? Also with some political overtones. Given the state of how I see it and perceive it politically right now, we seem horribly divided, and I hope that at some point cooler heads will prevail, and we can find our ways back to some togetherness. Harmony, because it's.
I was just thinking about that song, Give It On Back. You talk about, Wall Street going under in 2008 and 2009. And I'm trying to think, you were in the real estate and housing business. What was the year that you retired? I'm just trying to think. What was the year that you retired?
You're very clever. The word, I choose the word to use the word involuntarily retired.
Okay.
Because there was no longer any business.
Okay.
I was building in Las Vegas, and we became a ghost town.
Okay.
So needless to say, I have a little resentment towards whatever caused that. However, on the flip side, I told you I do have a bit of a spiritual sense to me. I would never have fallen here. I would never have come here. Probably never would have written a song unless that had happened to me personally.
Okay. Okay, I was just trying to clarify because I'm trying to remember when you get out of the real estate business and when you wrote "Give It Back." So I was trying to, come up with the a correlation to it. But that's very interesting on how you did that too. And if you write an album today or a song like in today's times, getting around the election or whatever, it's like, what song would you write at the moment?
I think I just did, and I gave it to you. It's called "Children of My Children."
Oh, yes, that's right. And I'm glad you mentioned that. And you know what? We're going to play that for you in just a minute. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with singer-songwriter, multi-talented Fred Lessman, part of Fred Lessman, the Backroad Warriors here on The Mike Wagner Show. Right now, here's one of the songs that's making the rounds throughout the Spotify, YouTube, and all the musical outlets. Here's Children of Our Children from Fred Lessman and the Backroad Warriors right here on The Mike Wagner Show.
Made for war, but it's the children of your children you should be frightened for. You live by all your rules, which never have been fair. You say they're here to keep us safe, but there's danger in the air. This land was meant to feed us. There's poison in the dirt, so we scour for scraps as the sun burns through our shirts. Are seeping through our pores, and the rooftops of our buildings come crumbling to the shores. It's the children of our children we should be frightened we never met, who knew that common sense was something we'd forget. You split us into tribes and bait us into feuds, so we crawl into our bubbles with those who share our views. And the bad news keeps on coming, we lock all of our doors. We talk with our machines, not in person anymore. It's the children of our children we should be frightened for. And Margaret Rose, there's Henry, Robert, and Arthur we don't know. The children of our children, I pray they'll be okay, with air for them to breathe, and fields in which to play. And I'll shout it from the rooftops to those who came before. You gotta leave it how you found it, it's nothing sacred anymore. It's the children of my children that I'm frightened for. Hey,
great song, Children of Our Children. Fred Lessman and the Backroad Warriors on the Mike Wagner Show. Fantastic tune. Tell us more about that song and what inspired you to write it. I mean, it was just so riveting.
Thank you. As we discussed, when I first started writing, I didn't have grandchildren, and now I do. I have 4.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, from ages not even 1 yet to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And given the current state of, what we call it, politics, between climate change, what I see as corporate greed,
mm-hmm.
and I fear for the children of my children.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with the chorus, which I usually don't. It's chorus first, which is the children of our children. We should be frightened for. And then Brett and I got together, and this is what came from it.
Wow. That is very, very moving. And where can we find your music, including Children of Our Children, Give It Back, 3 a.m., Supermanish, and more? Where can we find your music at?
I believe it's on iTunes, Spotify, and probably some others that I'm not overly familiar with. Oh, but Reverb Nation.
Oh, yeah, Reverb Nation. I totally forgot all about that. It's like we're so focused on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Reverb Nation. It's like we totally forgot about that. I'll have to remind my people. And lastly, about Children of Our Children, I forgot to ask you this. How can we help with the situation?
Well, I would hope that we at least take a look at the global warming. I mean, we see the fires, at least on our coast. We see the air quality dissipating. And so as one who probably many, many, many years ago didn't believe in it, I am a firm believer today. Mm-hmm. I'm also a firm believer that there is a huge disparity between the have and the have-nots.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to profess that I have any answers. I don't. I just do believe that if we don't make some change, we'll continue to fall into this hole and possibly never get out of it. You know, for me, I'm 66. You know, I got a lot more yesterdays than tomorrows.
Mm-hmm.
But those 5 grandchildren that are part of a video actually that I did. You know, I apologize. I don't know why I said 5. It's 4 grandchildren.
It's okay. I think you're planning ahead for the good. I could tell.
Yeah, but there's Henry, there's Margaret, there's Arthur, and Phoebe. Those are my 4 grandchildren.
Oh, they're amazingly beautiful. For those who haven't seen the video, check out Children of Our Children and check out his grandchildren. They're amazing.
Please do. And hopefully the message will resonate, and we'll get some things done.
All right, we will do that. Once again, Fred Lessman with Fred Lessman and the Backroad Warriors here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. And just a few more things before we go, Fred. We'd love to have you back. What can we expect from you guys in 2021 and beyond?
Well, I certainly hope from the perspective of the Backroads Warriors that we're able to actually perform live again. We have 2 songs currently in the can, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 that we're working on, but it's hard from remote locations.
Mm-hmm.
My muse and I, which is my wife, who named the band, we are going to be taking new location to Bodega Bay, California, on the coast. We'll have some coastal living. We're going to go take a look at the ocean daily. So that's going to be a nice change to look forward to. And, you know, I hope, again, that next year brings one that's a little less upside down than this one has been. Mm-hmm. Hopefully an end to our pandemic, and that we can now restore some normalcy.
Mm-hmm. And we're certainly looking forward to normalcy as well, too. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
My wife. Cheryl.
That's
the right answer, man.
I think that's well said, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point? Okay, Fred, you still with us? Okay.
Is to truly follow your heart. Because sometimes the eyes can be deceived.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's very true. Once again, Fred Lessman and the Backroad Warriors here on the Mike Wagner Show. Fred, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to hearing from you soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And before we go, once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or listen to your music?
Again, I have a Facebook page, which is Fred Lessman Music. I'm pushing my buddy Brett Levick as well, my collaborator. He has websites. He's, like I say, his songs have been on Sons of Anarchy, et cetera, et cetera. I'd love to give him a little plug. Myself, Spotify, Reverb Nation, and just keep on listening. I hope everybody does.
Definitely will. Once again, Fred, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Just a favor, keep us up to date. We'd love to have you back for sure.
Thank you, Mike. Have a wonderful day.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.